So certainly the Israeli economy has been doing very well. I'm sure you've heard that. It has weathered the crisis.
You're talking to residents of our country being in the worst economic crisis for years. So we know the importance of
certainly. And Israel has weathered the crisis very well. It was one of the last countries to go into it, one of the first countries to emerge from it, only 2 successive quarters of decline. And one of the reasons is that our crisis came during the height of the violence of the Second Intifada in 2002, 2003. So a lot of the steps, such as cutting welfare and all that, took place at that time, reining in spending, and Israel was better prepared to face this crisis when it came. Now, with respect to the Palestinians, there is a view, a theory, that talks about economic peace. It says if the Palestinians will be thriving economically, they will be more open to a peaceful agreement. And certainly the current prime minister is a great believer in that. He has also taken a lot of steps to make that happen. A lot of roadblocks have been taken off. The West Bank now is a much freer place to go through. All these roadblocks were put in place during the Second Intifada as a way to prevent the suicide terrorists to make their way all the way into Israel. Now most of them have been dismantled. Movement is much freer. The West Bank is essentially booming, from a very low point, but booming. Now the question is what effect this has about the willingness for peace. And here you have a much bigger range of argument. I must say that on the personal side, I'm more skeptical. I know that there's a view to say as long as people have bread for themselves and for their kids, then they don't want more. But I actually think that people do want more, and that ideas and ideology and a sense of dignity and self-respect plays a huge role for people. And Palestinians, in my view, are not going to settle for the West Bank being economically booming. They still want a sense of being, of dignity and of being in their own country and being in their own rule. And you can't buy them off of this in the sense. And the Second Intifada took place at the time when, again, the West Bank economy throughout the 90s was booming. It was the best economic situation ever. So I think economy, being, having a good economy doesn't diminish your desire for things such as self-rule, sovereignty, dignity. Also in different aspects, people often talk about terrorism coming from poverty and despair, but you all know that the 9/11 terrorists all came from comfortable middle-class backgrounds. So I don't think this is what drives people. What drives people is their sense of respect and dignity and whether they feel, and I don't think that economy changes that. So I know there are people who think differently, and certainly the Prime Minister, that's one of the reasons he's been doing a lot to develop the economy in the West Bank, but it helps to a point. If ultimately you deny people their sense of dignity and respect and rights, no amount of comfortable living, I think, is going to deter them from that.